Welcome back to the second half, Siege of the Empire. Our party just saved a lizardman and his companion from sure and inevitable death from the fishmen. And let's see where that takes us. Hello, everyone.
Oh.
Hello.
You were here.
Are we all back? Looks like only Megan is missing.
May not be, but
she's probably going to be necessary in the next few minutes.
Oh.
You mean to stick all our limbs back on?
Uh-huh, yep. Except for you,
Yeah.
you're fine. You're literally the only one that is fine.
Yes, because I haven't been attacked since last year.
It's true, it's true.
I can have an AC of 7 and survive this campaign.
Probably, yeah. It's probably a good bet. Anyway, so we just finished fighting some fishmen, and we saved this individual. And the first and most important question I have to ask, I think, is, Farron, do we need to roll initiative again?
No, I think I'm just being awfully cautious at this strange lizard man that's suddenly appeared.
So now that everything is settled, what does everybody do? What's the first reaction from everybody?
Yeah, putting my bow away, and picking up my spear. I look at this lizard man who seems to be hurt, most likely.
Yeah, I don't know. On a scale of 1 to hurt, how hurt are you?
Brian.
Cree. But Brian. Pretty hurt is the answer to that question. I'll answer for him.
Mm-hmm. He might have his health muted. So
are
who
you
knows?
Less hurt than me currently?
Yes, that was true for a minute, for sure. Until you became Harambe.
Yep. So, well, I look at him, and then I look at the others who are probably also hurt.
Yeah. So when do you transform? Their
Harambe.
Farron. Because you are at how much HPs? 6.
6, yes. So with seeing how he's obviously not being hostile towards the other party members, probably would take that time to transform back and just collapse on the ground in front of him.
Indeed. Megan, are you back?
Yes, hello. Sorry.
Brian, are you there? Nope. So Megan, in case you missed it, Farron just transformed out of Harambe mode, which you'd never seen before. You saw a demon jump over you and accost this lizardman, and then the demon monkey thing turned into Farron.
What is this mystical magic?
Right, yeah. But Farron also looks at about 6 hit
Yeah,
points.
so that's more concerning to me presently.
Yeah.
We'll get to the rest of it after. But accordingly, so does like half of the rest of everybody else.
Yeah, no, everybody's a little messed up. If we do a little check
If
here,
we do a quick roll call of health.
quick roll call of
Gorilla Spy. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I'm at about 29 out of 50.
I mean, everybody else other than... Anywho. Yeah, so I think that, immediately stepping into angel mode, I would just, without saying anything, just stand in the middle of everybody and, like, make a slow turn in a circle.
Hey, I know what that spell looks like.
Yeah, do you know what that spell looks like? I think a few people do.
I do.
And then, yeah, just heal all of us. Literally.
So you're going to use your channel divinity to bring everybody up to 50% hit points?
Correct.
Okay. Is it
up to what percent? Sorry.
How many hit points does it heal total? Because that might matter, because a lot of people are probably below half.
Okay, well, hold on. Actually, let me do the math just like real quick. I want to figure out which one would actually give more health to people potentially.
Using a spell slot or using the channel divinity.
Yeah, hold 1 second.
Channel is 5 times
Cleric level.
Right,
Yep.
but it's only to half your
Right.
full health.
Only up to half, which I can tell you, I'm above half.
Right, I
Actually,
know
I
that
am.
several.
I'm as
are.
well.
So I think
It's
I'm
mainly
just
me and Cree that's below half. And you, maybe.
yeah.
Alright, had a minor cat emergency, it's fine. We fixed the cat emergency. Okay.
That will still actually heal more health total than.
Yeah, I think that my channel divinity would still, because the rest of them are solo, it would still do more. So, yeah. So it would be 40 split between whoever needs it up to half. So whoever needs it, you can split it up to use that.
So how much do each of you need to get to half?
Well,
I need 13.
Okay,
Okay.
so take 13.
I need, 27.
Hey, that's perfect!
Look at that! Look at that! Perfect!
It's exactly 40 hit points.
We did it!
You did it, Reddit. Congratulations. Chat asked if it's the spell from Divinity, and that is correct, yes.
Yep, 100%.
That is exactly the spell that was just cast.
Except Aelin is very different from that. But that's
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Right, so Brian, are you back?
Yes.
Good.
Little late.
You're
Just like a
used to
minute.
10-minute breaks, and I threw you a curveball.
Big one.
So, Brian, the giant monkey demon is no longer a monkey demon.
He is now smaller than me.
Yeah, he is now a tiny human. What is your first reaction to this incident that occurred? Because, I mean, I don't know how much pride you have, but certainly you were in a bad spot.
Mm-hmm. So, obviously, first thought is giant demon creature is gone, so I don't need to be worried anymore. The rest are just humans or halflings. Blah. So his first thought is to sort of turn to the group and say, "Thank you. Tough spot. Needed help." And then he looks over to Noct and calls him back to join the group as well.
Yeah, and I think Noct probably turns around and like stands attempting to like be intimidating behind you, but Noct's also pretty hurt. In fact, Noct might. I guess he wouldn't get any because all 40 was actually used.
And he's actually above half.
Is he above half? Okay, cool.
Yep.
Yeah, because when I healed him before, I think I brought him up.
Oh, right. True. Yeah, so he probably like stands like somewhat intimidatingly behind you, but kind of like you could hear that low bass rumble coming from his chest.
Noct is actually a not very proud creature, and he's intelligent. He would know that Aelin healed him just because of the feeling that the magic gave him.
Uh-huh.
So Noct would go over and like rub his like try to not get the horn into her armor, but like rub his head on her plate.
Let's not stab.
Try not to stab.
Yeah, no, obviously Aelin sees this as non-threatening, even if he, like, accidentally is, like, just because he's so large, you know, like, pushes her a little bit
He's
or
just a
whatever.
giant puppy.
And you
He
know,
is a
so
giant
Aelin
puppy.
totally, like, just goes, shh, 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 and just, like, pats his head.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is everybody else's reaction to this?
I'm wondering what
Well,
that animal is.
So you recall back when you saw some other riders of giant creatures, some other lizardmen riders of giant creatures. This appears to be in the same family, but different in some way. It appears to be perhaps it's hard to describe, but you know the saying that pets kind of look like their owners. That's kind of what's going on here, and the resemblance is a bit uncanny between both Noct and Kree, who you don't know his name yet because nobody decided to ask. And so I think that maybe that kind of occurs to you. But you can continue on. You could ask if you want, I guess. See much information.
No, I don't know that well.
Arkady already knows everything that he needs to know about this, which is that it is a giant biting horse, and so his focus goes to Kree. He references what Kree just said. And how does one such as yourself find themselves in tight spots such as this?
I was looking for... I was fighting the fish creatures that attacked this town. They're my natural enemy. And obviously it seemed like the right thing to do.
Of course. I don't believe any of us knew they were going to be here until moments ago. Were you expecting them?
I was not. But as you can see, things happen.
Quite a lot, yes. This unfortunate pattern. I am Arkady Petrov.
Kree Opak. Great to meet you. And Kree
Sure.
extends his scaly hand.
Arkady shakes it, but he's looking to the others to see if there's any sort of flicker of recognition from any of them of anything about this guy. Do you recognize the name, the style?
Can I make a history check to see?
I was gonna say, could I make a history check?
History seems like the right check. Sure.
For that matter, could I?
Yeah, sure. Anybody who wants to.
I'm going to say Marilla doesn't because she's been in Tabelheim her all of her life and she would have known Lizardmen.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you've probably seen Lizardmen before, obviously, besides the one you've killed. The one you've killed.
Yeah, but even then.
So, Aelin and Hannibal, you know that the tribes that generally hang out in the Southern Empire follow kind of that name lining. So perhaps it's possible that he's related to the Lizardmen previously that you encountered on your way back. Maybe.
Okay.
Is that it?
I don't know what we wanted to do with that information, but yeah.
Kree still talking to Arkady. He calls back Nocton. He taps Noct on sort of the front shoulder blade. Noct gives bow of his head to Arkady. This is Noct. He is my deep friend and companion, and I believe you should know him as well.
Yes, he's clearly very loyal and full of teeth.
I think you get a puff of nostril wind that kind of like rustles your clothing when you say that.
We are both full of teeth, and Kree gives this large smile with these sharp teeth all through his mouth.
Yes, magnificent. Arkady smiles as well, but I mean, he's a halfling, so nothing like the same effect. He then gestures to the others. We did not expect to be entangled in this chaos either, but we're fortunate to have stumbled upon you when we did.
Very fortunate.
Your ladyship.
Hi, Kree. Do you happen to know about a large water creature that can attack the mind and turn people into needing the water for air?
I do. These fishmen are too organized to be without some sort of leader. An aboleth has to be involved.
So you know of this creature then?
That's why I'm staying here now. Aside from
so
the
you are
fishmen,
hunting
obviously. It? Yes, what else would you do with one? Keep it as a pet? The thought.
Well, it seems our goals align. We had a run-in with it in the sewers just earlier today. We managed to escape, but
Your small group escaped an aboleth?
No, just
Oh.
half of us did. The other half weren't there.
It's really more like 2 of us did, because the other one didn't really do anything because he was under a spell.
You don't know that.
I don't actually say out loud.
Gone, but he did seem a bit strange at times. But he's not here right now.
Yes, the
Wait.
day's looking up.
Aside from this missing friend of yours, you know where the aboleth is?
Yes, we found him in the sewers after the water started to rush in around us and made it very difficult for us to escape it.
Then, where's the army? Why are you not down there killing it? Why is it still alive if you know where it is?
The sewers are large and uncharted place most of the time. It is hard for the entire army to get down there.
We were also distracted by a gigantic reality marble of darkness and attempted plague of transformation, but that is dealt with now, so yes, clearly.
Hold on about that. It's not transformation. It's conjuration. These people are being sacrificed to summon these things.
Right, you're saying. Horrifying. Thank you.
That seems better. Yep.
They're
He's
being
happening,
summoned from
they're only
inside
going
them.
to get worse. This needs to be taken care of if you know where it is.
We are about to, aren't we? And I look at the group.
Yeah, and I think
milady.
I think you look at the group, and everybody, and including yourself, are like dead on their feet, basically. Like tapped out, asleep walk. Like, in fact, who hasn't been talking a lot? Farron, you're probably like leaning up against the building, like maybe even like nodding off a little bit. At Aelin too, you're probably at the same juncture, like pushing on right now would not be suggested.
We went out in the morning and we've been running and fighting.
It's almost 24 hours at this point
Yeah.
that you guys have been.
We may wish to save our next attempt at murdering a horrendous monster until after breakfast, maybe even lunch.
Breakfast.
A
Cannot
rest-
waste time with this creature.
True,
He's not
but
wasting time.
a rest
if we
is
have-
necessary.
Thank you. Yes, wonderful. I like you already.
Yes, I feel for some reason a very deep need to go to sleep.
Mostly it's the almost being awake for 24 hours and getting the shit kicked out of you guys. But
That's-
yes.
That happens to most people after being on their feet this long in the book.
Yes, but for some reason I feel a deeper need. Like something will happen.
I don't need to know about that at all.
Handel's gonna use some experience before he goes to sleep.
Shit, you fuck!
But I guess Morella kind of like looks at the group and like sighs. And she's like, "I am tired as well. Perhaps not as much as the rest of you, but my eyes are getting heavy. A rest is needed. We will go in the morning when we are well rested."
We may wish to see if the city has additional troops to spare to join us, yes?
Perhaps.
The
I do
creature
not
knows
want to risk lives, though, if unnecessary.
that is generally the value of having advantage of numbers, my lady.
Right. But the tunnels were flooded. If we bring down more people and they cannot escape due to another flooding, who knows what will happen. Anyways,
All very valid.
let us rest.
So I assume you guys continue making your way back towards the church of Sigmar,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, we
After-
gotta check in with someone.
And so I
Kriya's
think
gonna pick up his stuff again, just making sure.
yeah. Do you get back on knocked?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, you
Noct
mount.
is fine.
You mount back on Noct.
Yeah, and I kind of look at Kree, which I don't know. I guess
yeah.
I would have heard his name.
Yeah, sure. You all were there for that conversation.
And I'm like, Kree, if you wish to join us, you may. Though I hold caution with your company with us.
Kree just looks at Morella and then looks at Arcadi. Arcadi? Who is this?
She wishes.
What do you call her?
Lady Morella Fairheart. She is generally commander of our merry band and most militarily experienced among us in some senses of the word. Anyway, yes, she wishes to indicate her gratitude, but it also has great concern for your safety and that of your terrifying biting horse.
Well, thank you. And he just looks forward again. That comment kind of caught him off guard. It was he sort of assumed that since they're both hunting the same thing, obviously a hunting party would form. But guess not so obvious. And it catches him off guard, and he is slowly off-put by it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the remainder of your journey to the Church of Sigmar is met with less action than the previous portion of it. And I think that, I assume, Hannibal, that you're having Dane scout again, perhaps?
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, I think he reports back that it seems like the fighting has died down on both sides, but whatever was actually going on, because Dane didn't have time to go actually get close and see what was actually going on, with each individual fight, but whatever had occurred was not over yet. But the fighting was definitely dying down in the weeer hours of the morning, perhaps both sides taking a rest from whatever was going on. And I think that when you arrive on the row of the row of buildings that lead, and it's these 3 black buildings right here, with the Temple of Sigmar being the big one, and then probably the Temple of Shalia being this one, and this is probably, I think, Verena is the other big one in this city. Is that true? Yeah, Verena. Mm-hmm. And so I think that you see there are many hay bales and cots that have been brought out in the past hour or so, past couple of hours, and are lining the streets with injured and wounded, and not just peasants, right? Not just common folk. You see that there are a fair number of guardsmen and stuff that are injured, and this appears to be some sort of base of operations or encampment now. Because I think that as you get to the perimeter of this, you see a couple of probably patrolling paladins who challenge you for a moment, recognize who you are, and then allow you to enter in. And it seems like all the focus of the patrols has been down to keeping this area clear in particular, because whatever was unleashed upon the city did not just affect where you guys were, obviously. And so as you guys are kind of walking, and you see the torchlight flickering from the different buildings, you see the giant Temple of Sigmar in front of you that's all lit up with these with the torches on all the different spires and stuff. And you can see patrolling. There appears to be just a contingent of archers and crossbowmen that are kind of just patrolling the ramparts on the upper levels of the church. And you can see now why probably this church, Temples of Sigmar are places of safe haven, because it's probably more obvious to all of you right now in this moment that this is a fortress. And even though the previous attacks that you guys have seen and carried out even on this particular building have all come from the inside, but if one was trying to assail this building from the outside, they would find it very hard to gain any leverage on it. And so, as you guys approach, what is your plan? Are you going to go see the First Hand? Reginald, I believe his name is?
Yeah.
Yep. First-hand original.
Yeah, absolutely. So, is this it? Why don't I ever remember to fix these text documents to what I want them to be? So you go and you head in and, yeah, this is it. Okay, cool. So you go in, you head in, and you meet with probably like a priest who first approaches you and says, "Oh, my dears, it appears you are all injured. Here, come with me. For soldiers, we have some separate areas."
Where's the first hand?
The first hand is quite busy, but I will summon him. He will be here when he can. If you would like to wait in the pews. And you can see the pews are, like, a lot of them are lined with, like, wounded and injured and general, mostly paladins and stuff in here. But there is, like, a small, like, kind of, like, section of pews that has people, like, sitting. And you can see, like, some are even pushed out of the way. And there's probably, like, a couple paladins, like, sitting over a table. Like, you know, you can see they have, like, a city map out. And they're, like, you know, marking stuff. And there's recruits around them. And, you know, it's a war zone, right? It's a war zone kind of sanctuary. Which may be a bit jarring for how it was just a few mere hours ago.
Uh-huh.
Is Aelin just chomping at the bit to go start bandaging people?
She already has. Like, she was trying to stay focused, and, you know, she's already tired, and she knows how bad it is to try to do any sort of magic or even medicine when you're that exhausted, but she just can't help herself. So she's, like, she would have peeled off from the group and is just, like, triaging.
Yeah.
Kree is actually following Aelin and helping out as well.
What? Wow, a character who helped.
Weird.
So are you going to wait for the first hand to come out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
and the priest takes down, like, your names, right? So that it's not just random person A wants to talk to you. And so you can assume once the first hand gets that message, he will definitely come out in short order. Because you guys are kind of leading a fairly large information gathering group for him. And so I think that the scene that I want to see is Aelin and Kree going to and fro from these people. Are you guys actually, like, outside with all of the more common folk, or are you inside with the paladins and warriors and warrior priests and stuff like that?
I would be outside.
Yeah, Kree would be outside with Noct following behind him, not riding on top.
Okay. And so what are you doing to proffer assistance, Kree?
He's the worst injured ones, like the ones that are really bad, he's actually using cure wounds on them. The few that he can. And then he's just trying to bandage some up or giving some good word if he can.
So Aelin, you see that this newcomer is actually using magic, which you would know lizardmen generally don't. Magic is usually reserved for their shamans and priests. Traditional,
skinks.
Yeah, and also in skinks, right? Specifically, skinks are generally the ones more touched by magic. There is such a thing as a totem warrior that kind of, like, imbues himself with nature magic in order to like, increase their own prowess mostly. But seeing one healing is extremely out of the ordinary. As well, traditionally it's understood that healing magic comes from divine or possibly nature magic, and not from, like, arcane magic as well. So do you say anything to Kree as you see him doing
absolutely.
this?
Yeah, I probably would be kneeling down next to him. You know, we'd be back to back, probably, but healing, not battling, believe it or not. And I think at one point she would, you know, kind of amazed, turn to him and just say, "Friend, where do you derive your magic? What god or goddess do you follow? Because that's clearly the only line of path that Aelin would think.
Right.
My magic, mine is from the old ones, from Sotek himself. Or, not Sotek, sorry. It's, Chotek? Yes?
Yeah, I think Chotek is what we decided on.
Yeah, Chotek, Lord of the Sun.
Mm-hmm.
My magic comes from Chotek, our sun god. And you see him cast one of his healing, or his cure wounds. He touches this man's body, and the light is small, but it is significantly brighter than anything you had seen before. It's like a very quick, if you've ever seen a welder's torch, that zap, that's what it looks like. Just yellow instead of blue. And the magic disappears.
Aelin smiles and she says, it's good to know there are more warriors of light in this land. It's good to have you with us. I'm very pleased.
It is good to have a fellow warrior on the field of battle. And he turns his attention away from her again and back to the healing.
Aelin pauses for a moment to just assess him, but then I think she does the same. They're more important than their conversation, so.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. So you guys begin to focus your efforts on those aforementioned more important things. And so we flash back inside. I just found a sore in my cat. That makes me sad. We flash back inside to the group that is in there. And Farron and Hannibal and Arkady and Morella, you guys are sitting there waiting for the first hand. It's going to be a few minutes. Is there any conversation that happens between the four of you, or any comments or anything? Or is it simply just like waiting in silence?
So, anybody have any idea where Chester is?
He has wandered off again.
Was he not devoured by the aboleth, or did I just... sorry, I may have filled that in myself. I have somewhat less concern, as much as I would prefer to have definitive idea of Chester's whereabouts. I am somewhat more concerned. Do you not think it's strange, perhaps, that this city is suddenly beset by fish people from surging from out of the river, and we happen to run into strange lizard man knight on lizard back, who specifically hunts these fish people and their leader?
Would I know who these... He calls them... He says that they're his enemy. Would I know what these fish things are? With that piece of information?
It would require a very hard roll of nature, I think, to gather what these are. For in specific, because I don't think any of you have been to the New World, so it would have to come from stories and stuff. So it would be a nature thing, I think.
Nature for stories?
Yeah, specifically for identifying like characteristics of these particular things. And
Could I make it with charisma to the passing down from minstrel songs?
No, I don't think so. No.
Can I make it from charisma because I'm really good at talking?
No. No.
Nature!
13 is not high enough. Yeah, you're not sure what these things are.
I don't know what the fuck they are, but it might have been good enough that he was fighting them for now. I'm all for letting him help us with the aboleth, but other than that, I don't know. I need more information.
It's always good to have extra allies and believe me, I think we'll need as many as we can get for this aboleth.
Also,
As I said in that question, only what brings him here at this time to this place?
He said he didn't know this attack would occur, but we can surely ask him that at a later date. For now, I think we need to inform the city of the dangers that are within it once more.
Also, you guys mentioned the jeweler.
Yes, I shall be sure to pass on the location we found him for the police to deal with the Weirdstone that was within.
What was he like?
Totally batshit crazy,
There
I
you
think
go.
is an understatement.
Well, that's to be expected, working with Weirdstone for so long. Did he have any mutations?
Not that we could see. I think it more just affected his mind more than anything.
Did somebody just... Oh, Dalton did.
Morella fell asleep.
That's totally a thing that is possible, IRL.
Yeah, Hannibal's done with that line of questioning.
Okay. Alright.
FYI.
Yeah, so I think that barring anything else, quite rapidly, I think the first-hand Reginald approaches, and you can see that he is flanked actually by a recognizable face. It's actually it's Sergeant Dashhound, the paladin that was with you previously with Lieutenant Hauser and Private Shoehorn. And
good, you're back. Did you find the alchemy set?
You can tell that her features are perhaps a bit more grim than when you originally saw her. She seemed somewhat the serious type to start, but she looks now maybe a bit sullen would be the correct thing. I think that is just you, Dalton.
Okay.
She seems a bit sullen at this juncture, and both the people who are approaching you ignore your statement, and firsthand Reginald, he looks at you, Morella, or Arcadi, I guess, because Morella's having Discord issues. He looks at Arcadi and says, "What did you find in the sewers? And what is this marble? I see that you've been reunited at least with one of your companions." And he looks at Farron.
Both of the ones that matter, yes. Farron is more likely to give you a better accounting of what he found in sewers, says Arcadi, seeing as he was literally not there for the first session we were down there.
Sure, yeah, good point. So he turns to you, Farron, expecting an answer.
Within the sewers, we first found a number of magic circles and a number of others afterwards that were guarded by occult-like people, which we believe were the ones causing troubles a few months past. But within the sewers itself, after a flood of water started to come in, we encountered an aboleth, a truly fearsome creature that tried to peruse my mind. It has very strong tentacles that could, I'm sure, destroy a ship on its own. Of course, we also found another interesting development. We found the source of the Weirdstone a few months past. We found the jeweler who was working on the Weirdstone that transformed.
I'm trying to recall if that information was given to these guys. Hannibal, did you share that with the Paladins?
About what?
You did.
Yeah.
You totally did. Right.
Yeah.
Because they actually showed up and you gave them the Weirdstone. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Totally. Never mind. I was just making sure that they were aware of that.
Yeah, because I didn't want to fucking deal with it. I wanted it. You know I wanted it, but I also knew that it's not good for me in particular to hold on to stuff like that.
Correct. Cool. Yeah. So he nods and he's like, and that problem was dealt with?
The jeweler is no longer with us, yes.
I think he kind of gives like a dry chuckle and he says, as if one so tainted could be with us in the first place. What of this orb, or bubble, or whatever it was of darkness? What of that? And where did it go?
I turn towards Arcadia.
Yeah, Hannibal would be able to explain where it came from and where it went, but it seemed to be part of larger magical ritual they were attempting deep underground.
Yeah, I did an Arcana check and I succeeded, didn't I?
I mean, yeah, to get the information that I gave you at some point.
Yeah, so I gave them the information that you gave me at some point.
Do you remember what that was?
Yes, it was part of a larger thing. It was part of a larger construct to change the makeup of the water.
Well, yeah, specifically it was conjuration, right? It was used to like harness energy from the exterior to make the conjuration. And so I think that the next thing that he says is, and what did it conjure? Is the creature still down there?
Actually, concerning what it conjured, I think we saw what it conjured.
He sits awaiting an answer.
The sphere.
He looks confused for a moment. He says, "But I thought the sphere was
That was
gathering
a small
energy
part of
for another conjuration."
maybe. Like that's just what I thought, because you said it was part of a larger thing, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, then there's probably something had to bring the spear there in the first place.
So I'll ask everybody the question: what got rid of it?
Oh,
What finally
Skaven.
broke the magic?
the Skaven.
Right. Yeah. The Skaven that exploded, the Shadow Skaven that exploded and destroyed the bubble. So you tell him about that thing, and he kind of like shakes his head in disbelief, and he goes, "But you say that this seer, this gray seer, he was dealt with?"
Well, he didn't have a head, so I'm assuming.
Skaven
Yes,
are like cockroaches at times.
They're not like cockroaches in that if you cut off their head, they do die. But yeah,
I think he looks at you and he says, "That is an opinion that some may have, yes."
it's called facts. Things without heads have a very high chance of dying.
Very high.
Like 99.99.
There was a chicken that lived without its head for like 13 days or something.
You know, he doesn't know that.
He might.
Did it live or was it
Roll
just
for it.
blossoming?
Fucking roll for it. See?
No. It actually did live. That's a story I read when I was creating
Yeah, no,
the Carnival of Chaos warband.
I also,
Anyway,
yeah, I know the story you're talking about. I saw it in the Ripley's Believe It or Not museum.
it's pretty crazy. He kind of like looks down and he says, "And what of this new development? These fish creatures.
Yes.
From where do they come?"
Interesting fact about them. These people aren't being transformed to them. No. They're being sacrificed from the inside out using conjuration magic to summon those things from somewhere else.
Hannibal, you've forgotten the difference between interesting and horrifying again.
And he's like, I'm liable to side with your friend there, Hannibal. That is horrifying. Is this discernible? This magic? Could we perhaps find who is being sacrificed before the transformation is complete?
It's possible. It's not a disease or anything, so you don't need to cure it. You just need to dispel the magic.
Would perhaps the smiting of a hammer dispel said magic?
I was thinking more to dispel magic, but yeah, that might also work too. Or remove curse. But this seemed more magic than curse.
He kind of like nods and he's like, "Then hammer smiting it will be."
Okay, hold on a second. There's still people.
Yes, but people tainted by chaos.
This
can no longer
isn't
be trusted.
chaos.
I think
This is magic.
I think he kind of looks at you and he says, "Chaos is whatever perverts humanity, and this certainly does.
This isn't perverting them.
You may call
This
it
is
magic.
sacrificing them.
You may call it magic, but it is chaos incarnate. and it must be dealt with.
These people aren't infected.
First hand, from one of our new associates, it seems that these fish people are far too organised from what it would be. I believe that the aboleth in the sewers is somehow organising this.
Then we must strike down the head before we smite the body of this creature. How can we find this aboleth? Surely your encounter was not the only one that could occur. I fear that perhaps you've driven it deeper.
I hope so, because we did see an image of this creature down the river to the east. I just hope that it still remains in the sewers.
Yes, well, my hope would be that it came out and fought like an honorable beast so that it may be slain, but clearly that is not the case. This creature works in darkness. Well, there's nothing to be done. The lore master has departed. We can't perform another scrying. I cannot risk my men in there. In fact, we have much further things to deal with. These fishmen, they've taken control of certain parts of the city. We must drive them out. That is our first priority.
We will deal with the aboleth. Don't worry, First Hand.
Of course, if you could spare a few men just to accompany us, then of course it will be truly grateful.
Speaking of which, where are those paladins that you sent with us? They were supposed to return with my alchemy set.
No, I'm fairly certain you no longer need it.
No, I remember this alchemy set, and I remember needing it.
Sergeant Dashhound steps forward, and you see her. She kind of like puffs out her chest, and she's like, it's the first time you're looking at her for real. You can see what look like tear streaks down her face, but her face is red with anger. And she says, "Those paladins are here in front of you, Hannibal D. Solomon."
I look around. Oh, you mean they're dead?
Roll
a dexterity saving throw for me.
Yes, actually 2. Please.
Let's see how I do. Probably not well.
Okay. You're able to make the blow hurt less.
With a natural 20?
By letting it roll off your cheek. And
roll another one to see if you don't get knocked out by Marilla.
She slaps you, and she says, "You will respect the dead, or I will make you one of them. But I will be accompanying you into the sewers to take care of this beast, if I have the leave of the First Hand." And you see him, he kind of like looks, and like he was clearly like lost in thought, like kind of ignoring the whole situation that occurred. And he just turns back and he looks at her, and he nods. He says, "May Sigmar guide your hammer." And she says, "Fear not, I will be back with its head, or tentacles, or whatever this thing possesses, soon enough."
Tentacles.
I believe it also has a head.
It does, but it's made like a tube.
Chat said Chester could help find it, and that is totally true.
Oh yeah, you want me to? Morello's gonna hit me too.
Yeah, dude.
Morello, are you gonna toe stamp him, or are you gonna
sledge him with my fist?
Okay. Yeah, you take a knock. It's like you get slapped, but it doesn't like do anything. Like you basically just turn your head to the side as the fingers just graze your skin the first time, and then Morello.
You do know I'm wearing a mask, right?
Okay, graze the side of your mask.
Yep.
And then Morella just socks you one.
Oh, fuck her.
And
be more mindful next time, Hannibal.
I'll say what I want.
Yes, and my patience is running thin.
So is mine. Then I look over at the first hand.
We will get you what you need eventually, but
yeah,
for now,
and-
we need to save these people.
I think he's basically ignoring this whole conversation. He's like, if there's no other information to report, I must go plan. It'll be a sleepless night for most of us, I assume. However, the group of you has done well. I'll be able to provide you with quarters for your rest, as you will need it in the days to come.
Thank you, First Hand.
Have fun with the easy route.
I think he kind of looks at you and he says, "Indeed," and just walks off. And Sergeant Dashhound kind of just like stands there for a moment. She says, "If you need me, I'll be outside tending to the injured." And she grabs your gear and proceeds to kind of stamp off.
Yeah. And
Leaving the group of you to... you'll be provided with quarters. Doesn't really need to be like a thing about that, but you guys have places to sleep tonight.